Joining me today on the Closing Act Music Entertainment Program is a very special guest, Cami Patton, who is award-winning, Emmy award-winning casting director. I have the pleasure, as I said, to have her on the show today, and she's going to be talking about her role in the Apple TV Science Fi series, Silo, Season 2. Welcome, Cami.
Thank you.
Yes. Is it Camille, too? Like, if I may,
It
Camille?
is. Yeah,
Yes.
yes, it is.
Yeah, so welcome. So I want to find out, the first question I have is, how did you get involved? Like, what attracted you to the role as a casting director?
Well, first and foremost, I've worked with Graham Yost for a little over 25 years now, and or right about 25 years, and have done most of what he's done in that time. So if he calls, that's it. I'm available. I'm in. I love it no matter what. His writing is brilliant, and there's never been anything he's done that I haven't loved. So, and he's just the best to work with. So it was an absolute no-brainer. He actually called in the end of 2020. I started the first season of Silo in late November, early December of 2020, and we've been working on it ever since.
Oh, is it based on a book?
It is. It's based on a trilogy of books.
Okay. And now it's about a society that lives underground, right? And a silo with, getting away from toxins in layman terms. But with that being said, like it was filmed during the pandemic, like how difficult was that?
I think for everything it was difficult, and the fact that we had no exteriors, everything needed to be done interior on a stage, is good and bad. We had our sort of once we started shooting, we had our sort of pod of people, and there were new people to introduce, but um, the main group has stayed the same throughout. The challenge in casting it was doing all of it over Zoom, which was, we were all figuring it out as we went. It's become sort of the thing to do now, and everybody knows how to do it. But back then, we were having to really help people find the best place to Zoom and walk them through how it was going to go and get used to waiting for someone to stop speaking because you'd get that weird lag, in the beginning. All of it has gotten better, but it was just kind of a figure it out as you go situation.
And was there like other like maybe like the extra like the set this like the whole was there that as well?
You mean in terms of the layers of,
Yes.
yeah, it absolutely, it was very much about trying to keep everyone um, safe on the set. And so there were huge, lots of measures to make sure that, with between masks and everything else that everyone was wearing and keeping kind of groups separate and testing. It was all of that type of stuff for the first season. Fortunately, it's gotten easier as we've gone.
Yes. So with being a successful casting director, like when you're like what's your approach? I mean, in terms of casting, like how do you do you find with the character reading that you find that this is the person for the role, also for just I don't want to say like your intuition, or what's your recipe is what I'm
Well,
trying
you
to
know
say.
what this I think honestly is what makes it something I love to do. It's different every time. Each project sort of dictates how it's going to go. Certainly you start by reading a script as a casting person, and you do get ideas as you're reading it of what maybe of people who feel right. You start formulating lists and ideas in your head. I try really hard not to focus so hard in on someone. Sometimes it just feels so much like one person, and I don't want to limit it when I'm reading it. But you just try to kind of think about all the different things each role is demanding, depending on what the project is. Do they need to be funny? Is it a straight drama, or are there moments? You know, are there elements to their story that are going to influence the type of person you're going to bring to something, or, and um, you kind of think you've got it all figured out as you go. You think you understand the characters, then you start hearing people read it, and you learn so much more about the characters as you go. Um, I think it's the best process for everybody involved. We all kind of sometimes learn things we didn't even. I'll find even, Graham or whoever I'm working with will be like, I never even considered it that way, and this is a whole new avenue. So that is the exciting part of our job, is that there's discovery all along the way of what does or doesn't make something work. I would say specifically for season 2 of Silo, when we knew we needed to cast the role of Solo, um, that was such a unique type of role to consider, because you needed someone who was locked away as a child in a room, in a pretty big room with all these books and all of this access to information, but no human contact for 25 or 30 years. And what would that person be like when they're finally able to communicate with someone? They have to be childlike in some ways. Certainly their social interaction has not grown in any way, if they even remember what it was like back then. It was really limiting in a way of who felt like they might be able to do that, because you really needed someone who was a fully functioning adult who took in a lot of this information they'd read and feels very smart on the one hand, but also can tap into feeling childlike. And um, it was a
It's
lot, and it was not a huge list. And then when we got Steve Zahn, thank goodness he wanted to do this. It was like watching him do it was eye-opening, because even for me, really putting thought into it, I don't think I fully realized what we were asking of the actor until he did it. And then you just, you know, I don't know, it took my breath away what he did. I thought he was absolutely phenomenal.
right. It's like it's a team, and to collaborate what is the best, and having each, like yourself and the actors and the directors, everyone involved. And was there the most difficult person to cast that you found?
Hmm, think about that. Well, the role of Juliette, the lead, certainly took us a long time. Rebecca was always someone we were really interested in, but it was going through different times in her life where it didn't immediately make sense to her to do. She loved the material, but wasn't quite ready to say yes. And before we even got to the point of offering the role, my director, Morton Tildum, and Graham really wanted to hear it. They wanted to see people. So we had hundreds of ladies read, and there were some really phenomenal readings, and had a full process before we got to the point of saying, okay, let's take a swing. And like I say, in the very beginning with Rebecca, she was pretty torn and ended up saying, no, thank you. And then we kept our process going. And then she came back and said, I can't stop thinking about this. So, it was brilliant. And thank God we ended up with her. She's phenomenal in it. But there was a huge process on our part to get there.
Yes. I mean, it's not easy what you do, but it's so. My next question is, what did you enjoy the most? I mean, you've done season 1, now season 2, but what do you feel the best, the most accomplished?
You know, I'm working with Suzanne Smith in the UK as our British casting director. She and I have also worked together for about 25 years on various projects. Uh, and in her office is Kate Caldwell, who worked for me and my former partner, Meg Lieberman, and worked with us back in the day when we were working off and on with Suzanne. And Kate is an American who's moved to the UK and is married to a Brit. And so she is working with Suzanne. We have this casting family that it is such a collaboration, and Suzanne has incredible taste, and being able to um, have full access to American actors as well as the British talent that and have both of us be able to kind of uh, do this as a team has just been joyous. It's been remarkable.
Wonderful. And, congratulations, season 2. And what has the feedback been like for season 1?
There are people who are absolutely rabid, which is wonderful. And it's, a lot of people have read the books. But the other thing that Graham does, the real focus of the books were on Juliette mostly, and um, what I love is that Graham has fleshed out so many other characters and brought storylines into it that were not in the books, and made changes here and there that even for the ardent fans who think they know, they don't actually know exactly what's going to happen, and they seem to be eating that up too. So it's been a blast.
Yeah, there's been suspense there, and drama, science fi. And so what would you want people to take away from it? Like, the message, if I may.
Yeah. I mean, there are several really, but um, I think what is uh, different about this is you have this person who came from the bowels of the silo, which this silo, it's basically a caste system, and it's reflecting the human experience in its own little way, So you have the people in mechanical at the bottom who are considered the lowest of the low, but without them, there is no air. Without them, there's no power. They're generating, you know, the power for the entire silo. And as you come up the levels, then you have this, like I say, sort of the classes, the farmers who are feeding everyone, the workers, but then, and you get a little higher and you get to judicial and you get to IT, and they are the ones at the top who, control everything. And to have someone from the very bottom not only prove her worth and be worthy of being in a position to um, change everything, but also to question the authority at the top and insist on finding out the truth, which is her driving goal. She starts by trying to find out the truth about the death of someone she loves, and it becomes her calling card. And along the way, to have more and more people rally behind that. Um, I think that would be the takeaway. Is that anyone has the right to speak their truth and to find out the truth.
That. Thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to add that I didn't ask you?
I I can't. All I would say is just hold on. If you've watched the first two, just
Yes.
wait. We're just finishing season 3 in the next
Oh my
couple of weeks,
goodness.
and it's gonna be phenomenal.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And again, congratulations. It was a pleasure speaking with you today.
Thank you, Christine. My pleasure.